Yo, my name is Osman. Welcome to the first episode of From the Beginning with Osman. Today I got my boy EJ with me. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Going on, everyone? My name is EJ Dambreville. Um, just finished up my second year pro in Denmark with the Bakken Bears, and I'm back home right now in Boston, Massachusetts, just preparing for the next opportunity, man.
Sure. So you've been in Massachusetts your whole life.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Mass, in Boston, specifically. Went to school outside of Boston for high school. I went to Taunton High and Bridgewater Raynham, and then I did a postgraduate in Connecticut at a prep school, and then I went on to go to Florida Southern, a Division II school, and now I'm overseas playing pro right now.
So taking you back, like what age did you start playing basketball?
I would say as long as I can remember, my parents, when I asked them, they said like since I was crawling, I've always had a basketball in my hand. They threw out, different, like a soccer ball, a football, and a basketball, and I always gravitated towards the basketball. And so, as far as I can remember, I always had a basketball in my hand.
So did you like start directly or playing organized ball? Was it just like in the backyard?
Yeah, no, it started off, and walking around the house with the little Nerf hoop, the baby hoops, and then, gradually, I think I remember first or second grade, I was playing like in a church league, organized basketball, and then I've been playing organized basketball since then, like little travel leagues, AAU, all the way up until high school.
So what age would you say like you started taking it serious or you had the dream of playing pro?
I feel like it's like since I guess if I had to put it like an age. I would say, first grade or second grade when I started playing organized basketball, it's always been something that I love to do. And and the dream was always to be, playing NBA or play professionally,
Yeah.
like make it all the way to that. So, but honestly, I feel like since I can remember playing basketball, I always had the dream of trying to, make it to the highest level. So
Of course.
that's kind of just been, it's always been like something that I don't know, my passion and something that I'm like, yeah, I want to try to do this the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So high school, did you like start playing were you on varsity or like can you talk about that?
Yeah, yeah. So in high school, um, so growing up, so I played basketball mostly, and I think I started football around fifth grade or sixth grade, and I played football all the way up till eighth grade, and
Yeah.
then so football and basketball, and then
Yeah.
think going into my ninth grade, my freshman year, I decided I just wanted to focus on one sport, and basketball was always my first love, my passion and stuff. So I decided to go all in on basketball, and so how they did it out here was eighth grade was at the high school. So
Yeah.
if you were good enough, you can obviously play freshman or whatever you were good enough. So my eighth grade year, I played freshman. My
Yeah.
freshman year, I got hurt. I fractured my kneecap
Damn.
during AAU, so I was out the whole year, and so I didn't play my freshman year. When I came back my sophomore year, I played varsity, and then I played
Yeah.
varsity throughout. So that was at my those first 3 years, all the way up to my sophomore year. I was at Taunton High School, and then I transferred
Yeah.
to Bridgewater Raynham, which is another school, probably about 20 minutes away from Taunton, the Taunton area. That's like outside of Boston. And I did
Yeah.
my last 2 years there on varsity. And then I didn't have any offers coming out of high school. So I did a postgraduate year at a prep school in Connecticut. And
Yeah.
that summer I ended up again my first offer at Florida Southern.
I'm in Europe right now, and a lot of people here, like we know about high school basketball, but a lot of people here don't really understand the prep scene. and
Yeah.
just what that's about. So could you take us into that? Yeah,
Yes. Me growing up, it was something new for me as well, which is my coach kind of explained how people kind of well, at least for basketball, you can go to prep school for different reasons, and for my reason was um to go there to my grades were pretty good, but there were certain tests that you have to have like a certain score to be able to get into certain schools.
yeah,
So mine was I'm going here to have another year of basically another year of high school where I can get bigger, stronger, faster, and then also to work on getting a better score on that test. And
yeah,
so, but people can go and people go to prep school to there's a thing called reclass, whereas basically you stay back a year, and so it just helps.
yeah,
It gives you an extra year to, like I said, to get bigger, stronger, faster, develop into your body, and things like that. So that's what I ended up doing after graduating my regular high school, doing my 4 years of high school.
yeah,
I ended up doing the post grad and going into that summer before going to my postgraduate, I played AAU again. And so that summer I was able to, I think it was like the last tournament. I ended up playing really well, and Florida Southern offered me, and but to get into the school, I needed to have that higher score in that test because they
yeah,
were a private school. So I went to prep school, got the high score that I needed, and I got a couple other offers, a couple D1 interests as well, and I think I had one or two D1 offers as well. But after I went on my visit to Florida Southern, it was just like it was just meant to be. Like I felt like it was my home.
yeah.
So I decided to commit over there.
Hey, that's dope, bro. Hey, but
Appreciate
going back a little bit, my bad, but
it. You good?
right now I feel like kids coming out of high school are kind of abusing the reclass.
Yeah, yeah.
But like for you back then, what did you feel was like the biggest difference coming out of your senior year to then at the end of your prep school year?
First off, the competition I was around. So our my prep school we had two teams, um, and so it was like 30 of us. I think there was like
Yeah,
30 kids, um, and we had guys coming from overseas. I remember I had my guy. His name is Getty. He's from London,
yeah,
England, and he was one of the roommates in the building and one of my teammates. And we got really close. So I was able to play against all different talents around the world, around this country, and the competition. There was a whole bunch of high major guys. I was able to be playing against them in practice every day, but then also now all the high major coaches are coming to our practices every day. So now it's an opportunity for them to come see me, just to get that exposure. And so for me, it was huge because I'm coming from a place in high school where I'm player of the year. I'm dominating at this level. And then I go to prep school and I'm not the player. I'm not the best dude here. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like a shock, not a shock, but I guess it is a shock. You call it, like, you have to adapt to your area, and now you're playing against other better people, which is only going to make you better. And so that was preparing me for the college scene. Obviously, I was had another year of growth, development to my body. We're lifting, we're conditioning, we're practicing twice a day. It was like I was in college already. I'm sleeping at the dorm. I'm sleeping on campus, so this is my first time away from home. So it's basically allowing me to adjust, um, as if I'm at college already, but I'm not. You know what I mean? So that when I go
yeah,
to college, it's already like I'm not. This is not my first time. So there's multiple things that it helped with, and yeah. So I had a great experience there, great coaches, great teammates, and it just allowed me to just develop. And so I'm going into
yeah,
my freshman year instead of 17, 18. I'm 19, almost 20 years old, going into my freshman year. And now, as you can see now with the portal, these coaches are
yeah,
grabbing a lot of the older guys. So I was already an older guy coming into high school. So it just everything kind of was in my favor doing that.
yeah. Would you say like coming out of high school, averaging almost 20 points and being player of the year and all those stuff, like you coming from your high school where you're that guy to go into a prep school where obviously the competition is higher, what would
Yeah.
you say was your like initial thought when you got on campus or like after the first practice?
Um, I was like, yeah, this gonna be a challenge. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm a competitor. And some days they were harder than others. Some days I was frustrated. Some days I'm like, "Damn," like, you know, I got to figure it out. Because at the end of the day, my goal was to get a scholarship, to play college ball, and to make it, you know, to be a professional. So
Yeah,
um, this was only helping me. I knew that it was a challenge, but you know, you got to go through, you know, times of adversity to be what you want to be in life, no matter if it's
of course,
basketball
of
or
course.
if it's a 9 to 5, whatever it is. If you want to,
Yeah,
whatever your dream is, you got to go through some type of adversity to have some growth. And so I knew that I had people around me that was telling me to, you know, stick with it and just always control what you can control, and that's my biggest thing. I was never the highest ranked player. I was never the tallest or the most athletic or the fastest or whatever, but I hang my hat on being able to do the things that other people didn't want to do, which was sacrifice, work hard, 2 3 workouts a day, going hard at all times, fighting through adversity, fighting through pain, fighting through injuries, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this. So it's like I
yeah,
knew it was gonna have to pay off at some time. You feel me? So
of course,
that was kind of just my mindset. Like, all right, I'm with the big dogs now. So it's like this is what I've been asking for. Now I gotta, you feel me, prove it. And so it was a battle every day, which I loved. I love to compete. Um,
of course.
it was cool. It was cool. It was good. It was a good time.
So could you like take a scene? Oh, pause. Wait. Could you explain?
Yeah,
Yo.
you
Yo,
good.
could you explain about the like just the recruiting process coming out of prep school, and then obviously like what led you to go into the school you did, and
Yeah,
just how the whole process was?
yeah. Coming out of high school, like I said, I didn't have. I had some interest from Division twos. I had, you know, D3s were interested in me, but D2, I knew I could get a scholarship. I knew I was good enough. I just needed somebody to believe in me. My coach, he was reaching out to schools near in the local area. All of them were interested, but they always say, we're interested, but never would bite, never would, you know, throw the offer, or never would, you know, take that next step. So when I decided to go to prep school, I did that. I did that AU during the summer, going into that prep year, and that's when I got my first offer from Florida Southern. I went to prep school, and I took my visit and realized that I wasn't gonna be able to go that year, so I ended up going to prep school. When I went to prep school, like I said, we were there working, grinding. I got a couple other offers. I had, you know, some schools, the schools that weren't biting the year before, now they were throwing offers now. So it was kind of like a full circle moment. And I took my when I took my visit prior, you know, before the season, and I enjoyed Florida Southern, and the coach was very genuine. The coach was a good dude. I felt like it was my home already. So I took another visit, and it was nothing compared to my visit down in Florida. And so I knew, you know, I'm not going to play around with it. I wanted to, before, like, I think it was around October, early signing period. I was like, I didn't want to get hurt and then they took my offer away or anything that happened. So I wanted to commit early. And so I
Yeah,
committed to Florida Southern, and I had a really good year at Woodstock Academy. And so I ended up going to Florida Southern. And yeah, like that was basically it. I had a couple other schools that I was thinking about just because of the level. Like I had some D1, low D1s, but it was like for me, it was like I wanted to go to a place that I can be able to
yeah,
grow, play, and be able to just develop as a player. And back then, a lot of player like when you went to college, you didn't transfer. You know you were there all 4 years. You know what I mean. And by your
yeah,
junior, each year you got a bigger role, and by your senior year, you had the role and you had the keys to the team for most of the time. Now it's a whole different thing. Everybody's transferring, going different places, getting all the NIL and all that stuff. We didn't have that when I was.
Yeah,
It just started like the year I graduated. So yeah, that was my plan to go down there. They just came off winning a national championship, I think 2 years before I went there. So it was a really, really good, really one of the best D2s in the nation. And then it's in Florida. It's a good private school, and everything was adding up from the academics to the on the court to the sports. Um, Everything was adding up, and I just felt like it would be a good move for me.
yeah. Yo, do you want to tell us like what other schools like were options? And you said you also took a visit to another school. Like what school
Yes.
was that?
So I had like all the Northeast 10 schools. So I had like um what was it? Southern New Hampshire. That was the other school that I went to visit. And I remember I was
Yeah,
there for 2 days, and it was just a different it was they we went out, we had a good time. It was more like a party school, and that for
yeah,
me wasn't really my vibe at that time. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really party. Like I said, I sacrificed a lot of time with friends to be in the gym, be there early morning and things like that. So I wasn't used to that party scene. So it kind of like pushed me away from them, honestly. Like I
yeah,
didn't feel like and I knew a couple of the guys on the team, but I didn't feel that type of feeling that I felt when I was at Florida Southern. The way that they took care of me and my dad when we went on that visit. um and yeah, I just felt like when you just had that gut feeling, I was like,
yeah,
I knew
yeah,
that was a school. But then I also had like interest from like Coppin State, which is a low division one. um I had some other D2s like from like Stonehill and like all the
yeah,
NA10 schools like in this area. They were all showing a lot of interest, Pace, and there was a couple other schools. But like I said, once I seen that Florida Southern, and I knew they were a very very good team, always well known for the Division 2. It's just like in general for Division 2, and they just came off a national championship. I said, yeah, I need to go there.
yeah. So what would you say was your like initial like the first experience in college? Like what made you feel like okay, I'm like here now?
Man, my freshman year was pain. Like when I tell you that was like I got humbled real quick. Like I said, I just came off of being player of the year. I had a very good year at Florida or at my prep school. So I'm coming there with, all the confidence in the world. And now the now I got to start over again. I'm a freshman. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. I'm not one of the top guys. That year I barely played. I think I averaged like 12 minutes a game. I think I averaged
Yeah,
3 points a game. Like I wasn't even playing my position. Like they had me playing like different positions, and just I was just trying to figure out a way to be on the court. By the end of the season, I was guarding like threes and fours. Like I was guarding bigs because I was strong, and we had two All American guards on our team, so it was no way that I was going to get on the court during that time. And so that year was so humbling for me because it was like I was at the top, and then next thing you know, I'm at the bottom, and now I got to work my way back up. And so that was after that first my freshman year. I was in the gym, and I said there was so many nights where I come after a game, I didn't even touch the court. I'll go in for like literally one play. I would go run down the court, get a rebound, or go get scored on and get subbed out, and then I'm not playing. And I wasn't used to that. Like I was always on the court every other team that I played on. So that was like, all right, I need to work on my game. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever I'm doing right now is not good enough.
yeah,
So that summer after my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, it was like, yeah, I need to be in the gym. Like, I need to do more. Like, whatever I was doing wasn't enough. And so I remember that summer I was with my trainer every morning, 5 a.m. in the morning, worked out. Then we would always have runs later that day. It was like we did some strength conditioning every day. It was a constant every day, boom, 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 boom. We was on a strict regimen. I was eating better. I was, so focused on not having that experience ever again in my life. I was like, I told myself I would never ever sit the bench like that ever again. Like, you know what I mean? That was humbling. It was just humbling. and so I put the work in,
yeah,
and so my sophomore year, I was a starter. I started, without that team, we had the Division II Player of the Year. We also had the the Defensive Player of the Year on our team. We were loaded. We went 29-2. That was COVID year where everything got shut down. So
yeah,
we were the number one ranked team in our region. We were supposed to host the play the college tournament, but then we won the conference tournament, and then that's when COVID happened, so it shut down that whole year. But that was really like, to go back to your question, my freshman year was like, oh, I need to be better. My sophomore year, I
yeah,
took those steps and I was able to make that jump that I needed to have a good career.
yeah. Hey man, that's inspirational as hell. But like going back to what you said, I feel like personally going from a situation where you're that guy to then not playing or like sitting the bench and like basically not having a role on the team, like I don't know if that's the same feeling for everybody, but I feel like personally that takes like a lot mentally. So
Yeah.
could you speak on that and how that affected you a bit, pretty much?
Yeah, like it's like you said, it's a lot of people in that situation would give up or would complain or blame the coach or blame somebody else. Me, I took it straight to the chest. I said, "Yo, it's like it's me out there. Coach obviously doesn't believe that I can help, so now I got to be better." And so what I did was worked on me. Like I said before earlier, I live by this, control what you can control. Everything is not gonna
Of
go the
course.
way you might, you feel me, the way that you might want it to go, or the way that you might, have seen it going. But if you come to work and do everything that you can do, at the end of the day, it will work out. You know what I mean? Sooner or later, it will
Yeah,
work out. And so that was
yeah,
kind of just my mindset. And like I said, I can't take all the credit. I had good coaches. I had my family backing me up, and just kept on pushing me, and not letting me give up on myself. And with all that, I was able to stay focused and make that jump the next year. And that jump that I made was crucial because, like I said, I'm playing for one of the top D2s. They're recruiting guys every year. So if I
yeah,
didn't produce that next season, they would have recruited somebody over me, and then I would have been another guy on the bench.
yeah. That's true. So now going forward, now your sophomore year you started, and then your junior senior year you was that guy on the team. So could you speak on that from going to not playing to then being one of the main guys and just the experience, you
Yeah,
know?
it's just my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Now you
uh
good, you good.
yeah, it was just the work, man. Just constantly putting in that work, constantly reminding myself what the goal was at the end of the day, which was to go pro. And I know, it's going to be very hard to go pro if you're not producing. And so, at a high level. And each year I worked on different parts of my game, and each year I developed, and with the help of my coaches there, and obviously my trainers back at home, and I was able to each year just have better averages. My sophomore year I averaged like 12 points a game starter. My junior year, coming back from COVID, I averaged a double double, 13 or 16 points, 13 rebounds. I ended up transferring during that. So with the COVID, we got an extra year.
Yeah,
So I ended up transferring to a Division I, Manhattan College in the MEAC. They play against like Iona and all those colleges in there. I
yeah,
went
no,
there
no.
for the summer session, and
Yeah,
and they messed up my academics. They told me,
that,
so I was on track since I had basically 5 years of eligibility. I was on track to get my master's academically. It was like a 4+1.
yeah,
So I told them, when I go there, I want to be on that same course. I want to be able to do the same thing that I'm doing at Florida Southern over there academically. And when I got there, they kind of they try to play me like I was a dummy basically. And
Yeah,
so once they had me take some courses that I had already taken, and then they switched my major. They did a whole bunch of kind of like some shady stuff, and
yeah,
I ended up going back to Florida Southern. So then I did my last 2 years at Florida Southern. I came back, was like all conference second team my senior year, and then so I was all conference first team my junior year. Transferred, came back my second that senior year I was second team. Came and then my grad year I was first team. I averaged 18 and 9.9 rebounds, basically a double double, and then
yeah,
I was second team all region, and then I graduated. I scored over 1,500 points. Almost I was like 50 rebounds away from 1,000 rebounds. I won two conference championships over there at Florida Southern. I had a great career thanks to all the coaches, but just me putting in that work each year. Just focus on getting better. Focus on just being the best that I can be.
yeah. I think everybody would agree with me when I say like that's a pretty impressive college career. But
Thank you.
then going from that to now you're a professional.
Yes, sir.
What how can you explain like the transition from going from college to then going to the pros?
Yes. So during my graduate year, I had some agents reach out to me throughout the season. I ended up getting back to them once the season ended, and I signed with 2 Points Agency, which is the agency that I'm still with right now.
Yeah,
And so I did they had like a pro day where they host it in Vegas during the summer league. You know how they have the NBA summer league in
yeah,
Las Vegas. So all the coaches are already there, and they go to different areas. So we had a lot of coaches come there for us for our pro day, and so that was in July. And then I ended up signing with Denmark with Team Fog Nesvid my first year, and yeah, so I played my first year in Denmark with that team. We had an American head coach. We had, I think there was like 9, 10 Americans on the team, and most of us were rookies. I think we probably had
yeah,
two or three guys that 2 or 3 guys that were probably second year guys or third year guys, but everybody else were rookies. And
yeah,
yeah, it was like a quick transition from being in the States. Then next thing you know, I'm flying to 9, 10 hours away to a whole different part of the world that I've never even heard of, and that I'm gonna be living there for the next 10 months. So, um, but yeah, I ended up playing there, and we made it to the finals. We won the cup against Bakken, and we made it to the finals. And I had a big throughout the season. My role got bigger and bigger, and I was able to become a starter by the end of the season. And in the finals, I played very well, averaging a double double in the finals as well, 13 points and 10 rebounds. And that was against Bakken. And next thing you know, the next season they wanted me, and I played with them, and we had a great year, and we won the championship this year. So, um,
yeah. Congratulations, by the way.
thank you, thank you.
So I'm in Finland right now. I feel like culturally that's pretty close to Denmark. And I also like 2 years back, I think I was in New York for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
So me personally, I feel like the States and here in the Scandinavian, I feel like it's a huge culture difference. So
yeah,
could you speak on like the first couple of weeks you was here, and what was that like the biggest shock of going from like America to coming here, Northern
yes,
Europe?
yeah. Like you said, it's a different environment, different culture, just a different experience in total. I remember first off, it's a 6 hour time difference off rip.
Yeah,
So when I landed and got to Nesvid, it was I had to adjust to the time difference. I had to I remember we lived in a team house, so we had two team houses, one with 2 floors, 3 people on each floor. Everybody had their own room and kind of like their own living room, and then we shared the bathrooms, the common bathrooms, and the showers in the kitchen. And we had bikes. They didn't give us cars. We all had bikes, and that's very normal for Europe, which is
Yeah,
different than back at home because we drive. Most people are driving cars. I don't remember the last time I drove a bike out here in the States.
yeah,
Probably when I was a kid.
yeah,
But so yeah, first off, time difference. Second off, uh, luckily everybody spoke English, and so that was a blessing. That there was no language barrier. Um, and like I said, I was very lucky for my first year to have so many other Americans on my team, and then also have an American head coach. So that was easy to just adjust to on the court stuff because we all come from the same area. So, we're
yeah,
all we all understand each other. Now going to Bakken, where we have a European coach, and more Europeans on the team, more Danish players on the team. We had probably 4 or 5 Americans, and then the rest of the guys, the 7, 8 guys, were Danish. So but besides, they spoke English, and my whole thing was I just wanted to immerse myself in the culture. I didn't want to be one of those Americans that just stayed to themselves or didn't try to enjoy you know what we're here for. We're here to play basketball, but we're also having the experience to travel the world, see different parts of the world, enjoy different cultures, enjoy different foods, just experience the whole thing. So I always try to immerse myself into the culture, try different foods, even if I eat everything. Even if I didn't
yeah.
like the food, like pause. But even
Pause.
if I didn't
Yeah,
like the food, like I would always try to, do my best to just try to just enjoy what the Danish people were trying to show me, or like the different foods that they had, just get into the culture. I felt like they would accept that and really appreciate me trying to immerse myself and not be to myself, or be trying to want just like not trying to enjoy what they have to offer.
yeah,
So that was kind of like my focus coming in, like this is a whole experience, not even just basketball. This is
of
living
course.
and environment. Just try to take it all in and have fun, man. Like everybody doesn't have this
Yeah,
opportunity to do this, so just
yeah,
enjoy it.
for sure. So I know a couple Americans that have like played in Europe, and like in general, a lot of Americans when they come out here, they're like, let me get this money and let me go like
Yeah,
let me go back home. So
yeah,
a lot of people like go to practice games, but other than that, they're just in the house. So for you, you just said like you wanted to, get to know the country, like take a part of the culture. So at the end of the year, did you feel like you really like had a great experience out there?
yeah. Like my first year, I wasn't making as much as I was making this year, and so I was trying. There was a balance between going out and then also saving money so that I could have some money to come home with. But um, yeah, I tried my best to, still try to eat at different areas, try different foods, go to, see different memorials or different, just different things that Denmark had to offer. Being right next to Copenhagen was very cool to see that city. Like I never even heard of Denmark before I got the
Yeah,
offer going here. So it was just like everything was so new, and I was just so grateful to be there, um, and so I just tried to enjoy the things that everyone can't or is not able to do. You know what I mean? So. Um, yeah, and then this season I was able to do a little bit more. I was in Aarhus, the second biggest city in Denmark, and so I try to do my best in traveling a little bit more, trying to see different areas, and just kind of enjoy my time off the court.
yeah. So second year in Bakken, I know you guys played in the International League, the European North League, the ENBL. So speaking about that, now you're like in a position where you get to play against like top European teams, like teams out of Germany
Yep,
and Poland, and like
yep,
teams that play high comp. So could you speak on the whole like that experience in general?
Yeah. This year really made me feel like I was a true professional when it comes to when you think about it as a kid. I feel like when I thought about it, I was like, I want to take planes to go to different games. I want to go to different countries. I want to do this and that. And this year we did that with the international
Yeah,
competition. I thought that was so cool. And just such a great experience to play against different countries. Go to travel to different countries. I always love, traveling with my teammates, going to the hotels, be able to walk after we get there, land and walk through the city and see where you're at. And, we, like you said, we went to, I think we went to Poland, we went to Estonia, Germany, the UK. I think we went to, did we go to Finland? No, I don't think we went to
no,
Finland.
I don't think we got a team in that league yet,
Yeah,
but
but we went a couple places and those were some of those places were the first time I ever been out there. So, and just to play against some of the best teams in those leagues, it was a great experience, kind of just to match up and see where you're at. Some of these teams have
yeah,
some guys that played in the league or played in the G League or whatever. So, you
yeah,
always trying to just match up. And like I said, I'm a competitor. I always try to see how I match up with the best of the best. So being able to do that, that was a blessing, and it was just a great, a great experience overall.
yeah. Hey man, that's dope. Like those leagues, like in that league in general, there's a lot of Americans there. A lot of Americans that come out of college, come out of the G League. Some that even have like NBA experience. And one of the games of yours that I watched this season was when y'all was in Germany.
Yeah.
And no, you good, you good. Yeah, so that game you had in Germany, I even saw like your YouTube vlog and the game highlights. So can you speak about like playing against other top Americans? Like for example, the team you played in Germany, they got Ronaldo Sieg,
Yep.
who's a guy who could be in the NBA right now. So just going at like guys that are like that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, watching his highlights all the time. You know what I mean? So, going into some of these games where you're playing
Yeah,
against NBA talent guys or guys that you might have seen growing up or on different platforms, it was just like, okay, like I'm here. Like this is what I dreamed. You know what I mean? Like this is what I always asked for, to be up there playing against these guys, to see where I stand, and to see, to kind of just see what I'm made of. You know what I mean? And so that BBL game when we played against Bamberg, I didn't have my best game, and the game was still close. I think we had a chance at the end. We came back, and it was five, or I think even maybe a one possession game with a couple minutes to go.
yeah,
And so just being able to match up with those guys, I remember guarding him full court, and like I said, I remember watching his videos coming up when he was at down in Florida playing in high school and seeing his journey. So just being able to be on the court and playing against him and competing at a high level, that was just like, yeah, like, dudes I put that work in, and now I'm here, and now I see how I match up and see what other work I need to put in, and there's always more work that you can put in, and kind of just yeah, this kind of have that mental, I guess, just to be able to see where you match up with the top of the best of
yeah,
the best. So overall,
yeah.
it was a great experience. We also played against Poland team, and they had some guys that played in the G League. Yeah, a lot of the teams that we played against in the EMBO had very good talent. So it was always, like I said, as a competitor, it's the best feeling.
No, but side question, you say y'all was in Poland. I've heard like I've never been to Poland, but I've heard like a lot of things of like Poland being a racist country. And even though y'all was only there for like a day or two, did you like encounter any of like racism?
No, I honestly, my time there was pretty good. We had good food. When we went to the stores and when we walked around, I think the mall that they had out there, and a couple of stores, everything was cheaper, or the food was cheaper than than I've seen in other countries. And I know Denmark is a very expensive country, but
Yeah,
I had a good time out there, and I didn't encounter anything negative when I was out there. Um, not I don't think I encountered anything negative when I was in any of those countries that we traveled to. So that was cool.
yeah. Alright, so going back to you coming out of a D2 and you're not necessarily playing in like, the biggest stadiums to now when you are playing in the ENBL and you are playing in Germany and in Poland, can you speak on like the first time just stepping into like a huge arena and playing in front of a big crowd?
Yeah. Um yeah, I think playing in that Bamberg game, the huge gym, great crowd that game. It just obviously you have nerves, but I think it was for me it was good nerves, like nerves like it's game time. I'm ready to compete, and this is what I've always asked for, and just being in these type of environments. So it was a great atmosphere. I loved it. I enjoyed it. And so yeah, it's just like being in in these times now, it's like you look back and it's like all the work that you put in from being a little kid in high school, fighting through not having any offers to now being a Division 2 guy, playing on a team, where all most of the guys are D1 or, playing against pro guy, NBA guys. It's just like all the work paid off. You know what I mean? And there's still a lot more work to put in, but it was just kind of like
Yeah,
you know, all the you put a lot of blood and sweat in and for over I've been playing ball since I can remember, so I'm 26 years old, so it feels like
yeah,
I've been playing all my life, so it feels like the work is paying off, you know what I mean? And like I said, there's still a lot more work to be put in, but
of course, of course.
being in those environments, it just feels great. It feels great. Can't say nothing else
Yeah,
to it.
hey man, that's dope. And I feel like every basketball player has like their ups and downs. But could you speak on like especially being a professional when you have like games where the dribble might not feel good or your shot might not be falling
Yep.
and like things in general that you maybe can't even control. So
Yeah.
how do you overcome that and how do you just deal with the downs basically?
Yeah, I think even this season is probably my worst year stats wise when it comes to shooting percentages and things like that. But I because I was kind of switching, I was kind of switching or trying to figure out my role throughout the season with guys being injured. I had to move into different spots and things like that. So for me, I think, and that's why another part of why I have the YouTube channel to kind of show the ups and the downs. Like, social media, you only see the highlights of people. I wanted the
Yeah,
YouTube channel to show that, even as a pro, even as somebody that wasn't, highly ranked or, really was somebody that had to get it out the gutter, you can make it to your dreams and you're gonna have downs,
yeah,
you're gonna have ups, you're gonna have downs. But how do you handle yourself? And so the to answer your question, you always gotta stay focused. You have to always believe in yourself. Always believe that you can get out of those downs. And those downs won't last if you do your best every day. You give your 100 every
of
day,
course,
whether that's in
of course.
practice, whether that's in game. You're not gonna be perfect. And so there's been games where that Bamberg game, I think I shot freaking 2 for 9 or something like that. Even one of the shots I caught it in the corner. It was a fast shot. I think I bricked it off the side of the backboard like bad. It went out of bounds. Like the shit looked crazy. It looked crazy.
Yeah,
And so, but it was with me. I was all right. I gotta be next play, next play, next play. Like no one, like you can get caught up in it, or you can kind of like you have to be mentally strong. You have to build your mentors to be able to adapt to be playing bad or adapt to certain circumstances and try to be and try to get to the next do whatever if it's the next play or the next practice be better the next time because you're gonna have your downs. Everybody's gonna have everybody from the top, from guys in the league, whatever, whether that's getting injured, whether that's not playing well, whether that's having family issues, or whether that you're not getting along with the coach. It could be whatever. You're gonna have times where you're not feeling the best, but as a pro, like you have to be able to get through those moments as quick as possible. So my focus was always try to control what you can control. Like I said earlier, you're gonna, give it 100 every time you're on the court. You could always control your attitude, and you could always control the energy that you put in every day. All right. You might not be able to control what the minutes that you get from the coach. You might not control the refs in the game. You can't control everything else, but you can control how you act, your energy, how much energy you put in every day, and your attitude. And so that was kind of like my focus throughout this season. Try to come in with the best attitude. Try to approach the game every day or the practice or whatever with the best possible way, making sure that I'm stretching, making sure that I'm taking care of everything that I can do. And then,
Yeah,
you know, as you keep on doing that, eventually things will go your way. Eventually you would get out the rut that you're in or get out the little rough patch, or eventually, coach will put you in for more minutes, or the things will go your way. But if
yeah,
you're in your head thinking about, damn, I just missed this shot, I can't shoot anymore, or or the coach doesn't mess with me, all right, I might as well not even try, or whatever, then if you stay in that negative mindset, you're never ever going to get out of it. So it's
for sure.
you got to fight that negativity, and just always believe in yourself and control what you can control at the end of the day.
Yeah, hey man, that's true. But do you feel like when you have those games where your shot isn't falling, do you feel like the other thing, the stuff that you can't control, like your energy, talking on the floor, defense, like you're a great defender. Do you feel like those things like still can keep you on the court and keep your coach happy even though you're not scoring the ball?
Of course, you have to be able to do it, because if not, you won't be on the court. So it's like you have to be able to just be able to flip whatever is in your mind and be able to get to the next play. If this is not working, let me figure out what other things that I could do to impact the game. You know what I mean? And whether that's scoring, whether that's rebounding, whether that's being talking out there, communicating, whether that's being on the bench and being a good teammate to the guys that sub in for you. You know what I mean? Like, you can impact the game in so many ways. There's been multiple times where I got subbed out and I'm so mad, but because I want to be on the court, but then the guy that's subbing in for me, I got to give him the energy that he needs to get out and go and produce. Because at the end of the day, we want to win. I always care
Yeah,
about winning. Obviously, I want to have good stats, but my main thing is winning makes everything the best. If we didn't win the championship this year, it would have made me feel even more mad or upset because I didn't have a
yeah,
good year individually, and we didn't win. Winning makes it all kind of go away. You know what I mean? Like, being able to hold that
facts,
championship.
facts.
You know what I mean? It takes a full team effort to be able to do that. So, just whatever the situation is, you can impact the game, no matter if it's this or that. You know what I mean? No matter if you're not shooting the ball well or whatever, you can impact the game in so many other ways. So always keep that in mind. Like, okay, if this is not my shooting day, how can I help my teammates, or how can I be effective on the court or on the bench, or communicating defensively, rebounding, whatever it may be. Like, there's always different ways. And if you're able to do that, then you'll be able to be on the court or be able to help your guys out the best way possible. And then you should be able to get a win. You know what I mean? Like, that's the main thing.
Yeah. And playing basketball, there's a lot of like, I don't want to call nobody selfish, but a lot of people too, when they get subbed out or they aren't getting the minutes they want, they're on the bench like towel over their
Yeah.
head, fucked
Yep.
up. Like,
Yep.
yeah. So for you, even your first year, you wasn't starting, and you even going back to what you said, getting subbed out. How do you feel like? Uh, how are you able to, still keep a positive mindset even though
Yeah.
you aren't on the floor?
Yeah. Well, I got to give credit to my coaches growing up. They always taught me about body language. And like I said before, I wasn't always the top ranked player. So I had to stand out in different ways. And so one of the things was being a big communicator on the court, but also having great body language when things aren't going well, when things are both when things are going well and when things aren't going well. How are you going to carry yourself? How are you going to, you know, say if the other team or if you turn the ball over a couple times and they call a timeout, you're going to go to the bench and start, you're not going to dap nobody up and you're going to be all frustrated while coach is talking, or you're going to be like, all right, let's go. Let me lock back in. Here we go. Here we go. Let me get right. You know what I mean? Like pick up the energy so
yeah,
that things can switch. It's always, and so growing up, I knew that coaches were watching. The film is always there. People are always watching. No matter if you think they're not watching, they might be looking at. No, they're always watching. No matter anything you're doing. So
yeah,
having good body language was something that I always tried to have, even when I'm frustrated, even when I
yeah,
don't,
for sure.
even when I want to be selfish and not talk to no one. Like even if it's not even my fault that the turnover happened or this happened, and but you know what I mean, like I'm getting blamed for it, whatever it may be. I always tried to, all right, let me stay, you know what I mean, because also I always see myself as a leader, and so if I
Yeah,
can't be able to control myself, how am I supposed to lead my guys? How am I supposed to be there for my other guy, for my teammates or the younger guys or even the older guys if they're having a bad game? You know what I mean?
of course. Yeah,
Um it's not about me. It's like you got to be, it's a team game. You have to
of
be
course.
able to be at your best, and when things aren't going right, you have to be able to, you know what I mean, always. I feel like, yeah, you got to have that positive attitude. You got to be able to just kind of like, okay, if things aren't going my way right now, how am I gonna switch? How am I gonna fix it? How can I switch the momentum? How can I bring the energy back to our guys? And so
Yeah,
you can't do it with a negative attitude. You have to bring some type of positivity, some type of uplifting spirits, and that's what I always try to kind of remind myself and remind my guys. And I'm not perfect at it, and I don't
yeah,
think anyone's perfect at it, but it's the better you can do with that, the better the team will be and the better you will be as a player and as a person,
yeah,
man.
for sure. And that mindset in general is just respectable. But I feel
Exactly.
like a lot of people in general, like when talking, it's easy to say like, "Oh, basketball is a team sport," but then when they themselves get into a situation where they have to put the team first, they might not necessarily show that.
Yeah.
So, for you as a player who's played both in the States and here in Europe, would you say that players here in Europe or in America, like who would you say are more selfish, or who would you say put the team first more necessarily?
It's hard because it's hard to say because at the professional level there is a certain degree of where you have to have some type of selfishness, because at the end of the day, if you don't produce, a lot of teams will cut you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then you won't have a job. So you have to be somewhat selfish. But at the same time, I've always grown up as a team. The way that I've grown up has always been team
yeah,
first in all of the
yeah,
teams that I've been on. And then I was always be able to fit myself in by being, one of the best players. But I always played team first. Like I always was able to
yeah,
get my stats, but it was never on some like, oh, I'm coming down pulling every time. No, it was within the systems that I played in. And sometimes, like even with this year, like I wasn't one of the main scorers. Like that wasn't my role. And so
yeah,
you have to be able to adapt to certain situations. But to go to your question, to answer your question, um I would probably say us Americans are probably a little bit more selfish, just because we're coming overseas. We're kind of like fighting for
yeah.
a
Of course.
position, whether that's to get to college, whether that's to get a
Yeah,
scholarship, or whether that's to be a pro and stay on a team to make money
yeah.
for
Facts.
living. And just from off my experience, maybe like you have to have a little bit more selfishness in those areas. Not saying that
Yeah,
my teammates were super selfish at all. No, I think
yeah,
most of my teammates were team first, and did what they can do to help the team, whether that's score more, whether that's rebound more, whatever it may be. Um, um, but I do think that the Europeans that I played with, they've always been focused more on the team. I'm not saying that they some of them may have been a little bit more selfish, but I think just the overall general sense. Maybe the Americans are a little bit more just because of the situation, how we're coming out there and we have to produce at a level or we would be cut.
So I feel like you might have already answered this, but you being like a strong defensive player, and then now coming to Europe, getting to like match up with known guys with already like established names. Like for example, going back to Ronaldo Sug, could you like speak like go back on that experience, just getting to guard like somebody that fast, that twitchy, and
Yeah,
somebody like that got a bag.
yeah. I think just being a defender, like my role being a defender, being high energy, being somebody that was always kind of having to stop, other teams' best player this season. Um, I just had to focus on first understanding their game, understanding where they like to get to their spots. So a lot of film, with the team film, and then also film on my own, kind of just understanding their tendencies and um, seeing what they like to do. And then when I get on the court, try to use what I know into my advantages, use my physicalness into my as an advantage, and just be smart defensively on the court. Just play as best of a defense that I can, and a lot of those guys are going to make good plays. Like they played at the highest level, they can get to their spots, and they're very efficient. But you just want to make the game harder for them, make the reads harder for them, make it a little bit difficult playing against them, it makes me a better player, and just to
Yeah, for
play at
sure.
that type of a level of a caliber player, I just try to do my best to make it difficult for them.
Yeah. And then you being in Europe and coming from the States, uh, just in general getting the opportunity to not even just be in one country, getting the opportunity to travel around. What would you say is like your favorite country or your favorite city you've been in?
I enjoyed all of them, like all of the countries that we went to. We had a good time. Let me think. I enjoyed Germany. That was very cool. That whole experience was very cool. I enjoyed the UK. That was very cool as well. Also, we only spent probably 24 to the max, probably 30, 48 hours at each spot.
Yeah,
So and most of the time we were either going to practice, then straight to film, then team dinner or team meal, and then we only had a couple hours to rest. And so the limited time that I had to travel around in some of these countries, I was able to see a little bit of the things. I think where else did we go? I think we went to Norway, and Norway was cool. Some of these countries were very cold, and I like
yeah.
being in the warm, the
I
heat.
feel you. I feel you.
But I think all of the countries. I don't think even Estonia. Like I never heard of Estonia in my life, but that was a cool experience. Just trying the different food that they had and at the hotel and overall, I think I enjoyed all. I think we went 5 places, 5 countries or four
Yeah.
countries, and I enjoyed all of it.
A lot of Americans, when they first come overseas, they usually like aren't here for a long time, or they
Yeah.
go back after the first couple of years. What would you say, like, as somebody who's like new to this continent in general, like, what was the hardest part of just like basically leaving your life
Yeah,
to
I
come
mean,
here?
it's a sacrifice just leaving your family, friends. If you have a significant partner or whatever, girlfriend, whatever, you're leaving most of the time they're not able to come with you. So, just being out there on your own, that can be a hard time or, hard for a lot of people. And,
Yeah,
um, for me, I think that was I'm kind of used to being alone. At times, obviously, it's harder than it's a long season, so at times you obviously want some
yeah,
family or friends or people around that just to, for that support. But like I said, I think being able to immerse yourself into the culture, get to know your teammates, get to know make even if you can make friends from in the countries that you're in, just being out there enjoying the what that country has to offer, I think that makes the experience a lot better than just being in the crib, going to practice then coming home. It kind of you can really get lost in that, and so like I said, doing those little things, going out there, experiencing the culture, I think that helped me just get through the long season. Even when I wasn't playing well on the court, it kind of just I was able
Yeah,
to kind of split, the basketball side and then also my living situation and just like my other half of my life off the court. And it was kind of like a good balance that I needed. And I would, give that advice to any other, young hooper that's out here trying to do the overseas route. Balance that between, have that balance between, going out and experiencing, the country that you're in, and then yeah, it would make the whole experience a lot more better.
yeah. And I know a couple of guys, like I don't personally know him, but like I see on social media a couple of guys playing overseas that are also doing the YouTube thing, posting the daily vlogs. What would you say like inspired you to get into that? And
Yep.
then what has been your favorite part about doing that?
Yeah, I think I've always wanted to do the YouTube stuff since I was in high school. I grew up watching YouTube. I grew up watching certain guys like Flight and
Yeah,
Illuminati and all these guys, and then um, so I always wanted to kind of like vlog or show my life, and then I was always too nervous. And then in high school I was too nervous. College I wanted to a little bit, and I think I started in college, but I also had to be mindful because I represented the school. So certain content that I might have wanted to do, or just certain things that I wanted to do, I had to just there were certain things that I probably couldn't post on there or show everything that I wanted to post. So then when I got overseas as a pro, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. I don't care what no one says. I don't care if it's not, it doesn't grow as fast as I want, because I enjoyed the process of being able to create a video and then be creative of how editing. Like I taught myself how to edit.
yeah,
I taught myself the whole process, and just being able to have like something on the side as a hobby that I enjoy doing. I was like, I'm gonna do it. And then also what I enjoy about it is being able to show people, the kids and the people that are growing up that aren't the best in whatever they're doing, but love to do it and want to get to being the best, that it's possible. Like I said,
yeah,
I wasn't the best. I wasn't the best in my area. I wasn't the highest rank. I just worked hard. I had good people around me that pushed me and made sure I was doing the right things. And I just stayed focused on my dreams and my goals. And I want to show that to the other kids around the world that y'all can do the same thing too. And so that's
yeah,
that's really the reasoning behind me doing the vlogs, for creativity purposes and because it's a fun hobby, but also for to inspire the youth and to show them that if I can do what I'm doing, y'all can do it even more.
yeah. That's dope. But going back to, having hobbies outside of basketball, especially when you're like in a new place for basketball, if that's all you're doing, I feel like it gets like pretty like it gets old.
Yep.
Or so, what would you say like are other hobbies you have, or just like in general, the importance of doing something else on the side, even though
Yeah.
basketball is the main thing?
Yeah, like you spend a lot of time on the court, but then most of the time you're at the house. Like you might in a day, you might spend what 4 or 5 hours on court or at the gym doing what you need to do. Then the rest of the day you're chilling. So what else are you
Yeah,
gonna do? You know what I mean? And so you kind of need something else to fill that time, because if not, then it's gonna be a long 10 months. And then like say if you're not playing well, that's not gonna make it even better if all you think about is basketball. You need some type of
yeah,
balance. And I used to be that way, thinking, oh, basketball, basketball, basketball. Having the YouTube stuff allowing me to have something else to focus on when I'm, when I kind of need a break from ball, or just having something else to do, is definitely helpful. So I would invite, my advice would always to be for especially the younger guys or the younger the first year guys, or guys that are just starting off overseas, have try to find a different hobby. Try to find something else that you enjoy doing. I know most
Yeah,
guys like myself, like all I've grown up to do is play basketball. So, but the basketball is gonna end. You know what I mean? Like basketball is not
yeah,
forever. So you wanna kind of prepare yourself for that, and you want to find other things that you enjoy doing off the court, so that you can kind of, when basketball is over, you kind of have another path to go on, or you kind of understand yourself a little bit more, that you're not just a basketball player, you're more than that. You know what I mean? And there's other things
of
that
course.
you enjoy doing. You just have to kind of figure it out. You know what I mean? So you have a lot of
Yeah,
time to do that while you're overseas too. So that's kind of been just something that I've tried to do, is find other things that I enjoy doing, and then so that I can kind of position myself that when ball is over, um, I can move on and do other things.
yeah. Hey, I know I had you here for a long time, but I pretty much only got two things left. Uh, what would you say, like, if you had like to give one piece of advice to the next generation, or just somebody that's dreaming of living or getting the opportunities you've had, or just take the same path, like, what would you say is like one piece of advice you would give that person?
I would say dream the biggest thing that you ever can dream of, and
Yeah,
then work as hard, and then don't think about what anybody else has to say, and just go do it. I think we get caught up on social media, what other people are doing, what other people might think, and then you just never end up doing what you want to do, and then you might live with a
yeah,
life of regrets. F what anybody else has to say. If you find something that you love doing, that you're passionate about, do it. You know what I mean? Go do it.
yeah,
Like it don't
yeah. I
matter
love
what.
that.
Go do it, and you will be happy with yourself at the end of the day. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure. And then, last thing to close this out, what would you say is like the next thing for you? What's next for EJ?
Right now is working out, staying in shape, just getting ready for whatever the next opportunity is, whether that's whether if the opportunity opens back up to go back to Bakken, whether that's another opportunity at a different club. Right now, like I said, control what I can control, which is staying in shape, staying ready, working on my craft. And right now is just spending a lot of time with my family and friends while I'm home.
Of course, of course.
It's a long season being away, so this is the time that I have with them. So that's kind of just been my focus during this time, this off season, is just to do those two things: to stay ready and spend time with family.
Yeah. Hey, bro, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you for having me.
yes, sir, yes, sir. If you got any socials or any upcoming projects or anything you want to shout out, go ahead, shout yourself out.
Yeah, just have my YouTube channel, EJ Butter. All my social medias are EJ Butter, EJBUTTA, and
Yeah, I'm gonna leave all your links down below.
I appreciate it. And
Of
yeah, you
course,
can
of
just follow
course.
my journey on my social medias, and a
Yeah,
YouTube video will be coming out later this week. But thank you again for having me,
I
on your podcast,
appreciate you.
your interview thing. Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Yo, I'm gonna stop recording now. You might have to keep the thing on for a minute so like it gets to it loads up,
Okay.
but I'm